Hi guys, this is Any How To Videos, and today we are going to be looking at how to build a computer. You'll need a list of items from a torch, a screwdriver, scissors, an anti-static wristband, and maybe some zip ties. An anti-static wristband is purely there to get rid of the static that you have. You know, when you zap someone, you touch them, and like you get a little electric shock. Well, this just stops that from happening to your expensive components. Just attach it to anywhere on your case. Alternatively, if you don't have one of these, just touch your case every now and then and it'll discharge you anyway. So first off, we're going to start off with the motherboard and take it out of its original packaging from the store. Now, this is a anti-static bag what it's in, but it's only anti-static on the inside. A lot of people say, oh yeah, put your motherboard on top of your anti-static bag, but no, it conducts static on the outside to stop it from getting the inside. So don't place it on there. Place it on the box it came in. It's probably your best bet because it's cardboard. So first thing we're going to install is the CPU. And here, as you can see, I'm really struggling to get inside of the CPU because I started opening it from the wrong side. So just bear in mind where all the security seals are when you're doing this. I never cut towards you because that could end up quite badly. I just want to say thank you to my cameraman here. This is my friend, Jason, and he's used the camera a few times and I needed a cameraman, so just filling in time here. So with your CPU, you will get your heatsink and your CPU. The box is a little bit awkward to sort out at the beginning, but you soon get used to them. So here's your heatsink. Just place that to the side for now, and here is your CPU. Now be careful with this, you don't really want to drop it as it's so small and so delicate. I cannot stress how much you need to be careful with this, but don't be over careful because you might not end up even installing the thing. Anyway, to install your CPU, every single CPU and every single motherboard is different, so refer back to your motherboard manual and it'll tell you how to install the CPU. On my motherboard, it's different to all the other motherboards I've ever install the CPU on. So first things first, I'm just going to unhook this little latch here. You press it down and pull it out and slowly lift it up. Then you can pull the front up and it should just sit gently backwards. So on your CPU you'll have this golden little triangle and there'll be one on your motherboard where you're installing your CPU, whether it be on the top or on this part here. So just make sure they line up. There's also little ridges which you can also look out for if you can't see where the golden triangle is. Now just put it in, don't drop it in and don't wiggle it around. Give it a little, like the lightest press on top just to ensure that it's fully in because you don't want to snap any of those pins. Anyway, now you want to place the top back down and push down hard on the little lever. It'll make a couple of noises and then you just hook it back on. On my motherboard the little plastic bit pops out, that's where it's designed. It might be different on your motherboard. So next we're going to install the heatsink. Now your heatsink already has some thermal compound on, so you don't need to apply that. So here's your CPU fan, and you just need to figure out where you want to plug it in. So you might want to turn your heatsink to whereabouts you want the fan to be plugged in. That doesn't really matter too much. But anyway, right, now you want to align the screw holes with the screws. And it should just fit in nicely once you get them all in. Now always work in a diagonal pattern. So never screw around, always screw like diagonal. You'll see in this video what I mean. So with these you just push them down till they give a little bit of a click. So there we go, there's one and there's two. Now done then. just make sure everything is out of the way, because I know on this part I accidentally got the wire stuck in while I was pressing it down. Okay, so now you just want to twist them on the direction they tell you. Always refer back to your manuals on this, guys, because every single heatsink will be different. But with mine, just twist them and then they fully go in. A way to check that this one's fully gone in, because it has no backplate, is just turn it over and you'll see see-through parts with also black little bits. And if they're fully through, that means that it's correctly installed. I've always had issues with these. I recommend getting an aftermarket heatsink with a back plate so you know fully that it's gone on. Now you just want to wire up your CPU wire for the fan to how you want it, and then you just simply plug it in. Okay, so next we're going to install the RAM. Here I've got two 4GB sticks, Vengeance DDR3 RAM, and as you can see there's 4 slots on the motherboard. Refer to your motherboard manual on here, because where it wants you to place the sticks will be in completely different places to where I install them on mine. So for the best performance, make sure you're installing 2 sticks on 1 and 1 instead of 1 and 2. So mine's black on black, and someone else's might be blue on blue. Okay, so you're just going to pull out these little white parts here to install the memory, and you'll see that there's a little ridge what lines up with your RAM, and then just give it a gentle push in till the edges click in like so, and then do the same with the other bit of RAM. Always hold it on the either heatsink if you have one, or from each of the sides. Never touch the gold part. So again, lining it up, pulling out the white parts, the clips, and then lining it up again, and then give it a gentle push till it clicks. Just double check your RAM, make sure everything's in properly, make sure all the clips are flush. Okay, so in your case you're gonna get this loads of goodie bags, whether it be an internal speaker, a couple of screws, in this case a lot of screws, and some zip ties for cable management. You'll get screws for your hard drive, your PSU, and your other optical drives. And of course you'll get all your cables for your front panel. So here we're going to install the DVD drive. For this demonstration I took off the front of the case just to show you that you just need to pull back on these little metal parts what hold the section in place, and then you just push it through. It might be different, some kind of bend out on a metal axis and some just clips. So I'm just going to put the front panel back on here. You don't need to take it off to install the DVD drive, it's completely up to you. Again, refer back to your manuals if you're not sure. Okay, so with your DVD drive, install it via the front, and it should just go in. Make sure it's flush. It doesn't have to be, you just need to make sure that the screw holes align at the back. And then just simply screw it in. So some are toolless designs, as you can see underneath the one I'm screwing in now, and some need to be screwed in. And you just get simple screw and then screw it in. It doesn't take much. I normally just do 2 at the front and 1 at the back, because the back is not always something you want to open up if you're in a rush. Okay, so next I'm going to install the hard drive. This is a toolless design, so all I need to do is get my hard drive. I know where I want to place it, and then insert it. Make sure you get the right spot, because I accidentally got the wrong spot. Push it in, align the two holes, make sure that you've not gone too far in, not too far out. So as you can see, I've aligned the holes here and here. And I just simply place that on there, give it a twist, and that's it installed. Okay, so this is your ISO shield, and it goes in the back of your computer case here just to stop dust and stuff clogging up with your motherboard. So you want to align where the holes are, just check it to your motherboard, then think where your motherboard's going to go in, twist it around, and then Bob's your uncle. These can take a while to get in depending on whether you're lucky or not, because sometimes they aren't perfect size. They're meant to be a tight squeeze, so they stay in there and never come out. But I've had a few friends just not put them in for the simple fact that they're really too much effort. But for this, I'm making it for a friend, so I put it in for him. And as you can see, I'm already struggling. And if it doesn't seem to be going in, guys, just again give it a few more pushes, and then it should just click in. Give it a push from the top, bottom, and the middle. Then just make sure it's flush, and you'll be able to see whether it's not in or not. Next, you want to install your mounting brackets. They're like a brass material like these, and on your case it'll tell you what size, what ones to screw in conjunction to the size of your motherboard. So mine's a ATX, so I'm going to do A, B, C, D, E, F, G, J, K, L, I believe. And you just go around, screw all them in. Next, you want to get your motherboard and insert it into your case. Slowly lower it down, making sure those little standoffs are in conjunction with the screw holes, because that's what you're going to be screwing into. The ISO shield might be causing some issues to get your motherboard in, but don't worry, it'll soon get its way. Next, you want to get a screw like this, and then just simply screw it in to the screw holes on your motherboard. If you do not install the standoffs, you can come to a possibility where your motherboard might short circuit. The standoffs are there to stop it from connecting to your case, which obviously will be a bad thing if it happens. So just give it a screw. Don't over screw it, just make it a loose screw for now, then go around later on and then screw them all in properly. You might need to push down against the ISO shield to make sure everything's screwed in properly. Next, we're going to install the graphics card. Just line it up into your slot where you want, then figure out where your back slots need to come out. Since these are made of metal, they just kind of bend off. They do take a while. So here I need to take off 2 slots because I've got a graphics card which is 2 slots big. And be careful with these because I believe I cut myself on this. Next, you want to line up the gold pins with your PCIe slot. Just simply line it up. Then it should stay there. And then you want to push at the back just to align everything, and then give it a push at the front, and then it should click. The back clip here will clip back like that, and then just ensure that the front's in. If you can see any gold at the bottom, then it normally means that it's not in properly, so just give it another push down. Next, you want to screw it in on the brackets here. and just ensure that it's properly in, as you don't really want this falling down. It's up to you whether you screw this one in. A lot of people don't, but again, I'm making this for a friend, so I'm trying to make it perfect. Next, we're going to install a wireless card, and this is just an expansion PCI card, so I thought I'd show this. It's only small, same things apply, just slot it in, align the ridges, and then give it a little press down. And once again, screw it in. With a wireless card, you're going to have to attach the antennas to it. With these, it's just 3 simple little antennas, and you just need to twist them on. As simple as that, then you bend them in the direction that you want. And just double check them. Next, we're going to install the PSU, or the power supply, whatever you want to call it. I'm just going to fit it in here since this is bottom mounted. Just make sure the fan is in the correct place in conjunction to your case. It'll have like either no gap at the bottom or a gap at the top. So here's a bottom mounted PSU. Just make sure everything's flush, and then begin screwing in your screws. Make sure you get the right screws, because on this part I got the wrong ones and I got really confused of why it wouldn't really install really. There should be 4 screw holes in total, as you can see on this part of the video. And magnetic screwdrivers are always best to use. Next, we're going to install the front panel headers. It will say on the headers what things are. So on here we've got HD audio and also USB 3.0. 2.0. These will always be located at the bottom of your motherboard where you need to plug in, and I wouldn't worry, because if you just look at them and then look at your motherboard, it should either one say where it needs to go, like HD audio needs to go in HD audio, or the pins won't align up. So if you just check the pins to your motherboard, and then you can figure out from there where they need to go in. But again, refer back to your motherboard because they're all different. Next, we're going to install the HD audio, and I got a bit confused with this one because it had 2 little wires on. But again, this was in the bottom left hand corner of my motherboard, and again, just checking the pins on the bottom of the motherboard in conjunction to the wire, and they just fit in perfectly. Next, we've got the front panel LEDs and switches and stuff. They come in a series of colours, but mine look like this, and they're insanely hard to install if you're a first timer. So again, refer back to your motherboard. I know I keep on saying that, but I can't stress how much each motherboard is different. There is a little tiny diagram on the motherboard to tell you where to install them, but it can get a little bit hard to see if you've not got good eyesight. So as you can see in the little white section there, I'm just installing them one by one. This is also where you install your front speaker, sorry, your internal speaker for your post beep. A post beep basically says, if it's a one beep, and again it depends on your motherboard, but most motherboards, if it beeps once, that just means everything's fine. If it beeps twice, it might be RAM, 3 times, hard drive, etc. So it's always good to install them when you've started building a PC so you can verify what's wrong with the PC if it's not working. Next, you just want to move the wires out of the way. You tend to keep these to the back because they're the first things that go in. Okay, so this is your main power supply. It's the biggest thing from your power supply, and it just plugs into there. I always plug this in first, get it out of the way. You know, then you've got nothing to worry about, really. It should just clip in. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of a push because it's such a big wire. And then again, just put that somewhere away. Cable management's a big thing, guys, so just make sure you're doing it. So here's your CPU power supply, and it should say CPU on it. And it comes in a 4-pin layout or an 8-pin. In my case, it's an 8-pin, and it's always at the top of the left of the motherboard. Again, with a motherboard, there's only one place where a wire is going to go, so don't worry if you feel like you've got it in the wrong place, because, well, it's meant to go there anyway. Most cases will come with a cable management kind of idea, but this case you couldn't get it to the back because there wasn't enough space. Next, we're going, because this is a modular power supply, we're going to plug in another module, and this is for the optical and hard drives. It's a L-shape kind of diagram, and it always goes on the biggest input on your optical drive or hard drive, because the next one after that is a SATA cable. And if you don't have these, you'll probably be working in IDE, which is a long, thick ribbon. But the same theory applies. Okay, so next, this is a PCIe port. This is for your graphics cards. And it will go into here. Some graphics cards use 2 of these, so just be wary. Make sure your power supply's got enough power to power your graphics card as well as your entire computer. So I've just plugged in the other module, and I'm gonna place this straight into the graphics card after I've wrapped it around stuff to make sure it's not in the way. Again, guys, cable management, without good cable management, your airflow is going to be terrible, so just make sure your cables are okay, as long as they're not everywhere. I tend to clean them up towards the end. Okay, so these are your SATA cables. These are SATA 3 because they're white, and they just clip into whether your motherboard accepts it, and then simply clicks into your optical drives. Again, it's an L shape, so it's quite easy to get in. And once again, for the hard drive, just plug it into your motherboard on one end, and on the other plug it into your hard drive. If you want to use zip ties, guys, that's fine. It helps with cable management a lot. So here's the finished product, and here's the graphics card. And then you got your wireless card, your CPU cooler, your RAM. And then all you've got to do is install Windows 7 onto it, or Windows 8, or whatever Windows. And I hope you have a nice day, and if you've got any questions, please put them in the comment section below and hit that subscribe button. This is any how-to videos.